What's going on, my friends? Welcome to episode 12 of the Get Your Game On podcast, bringing you the hot takes, latest stories, and spicy picks around New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, national and international sports. Hosted by yours truly, Grassani. Joined as always by Cunningham, Reich, Devin Hastie, Kern, and Marcellus Murdock. You can listen to this podcast right now on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Get Your Game On Page. With all that said, it's time to get your game on. We back.
Go.
What's up?
What's cracking, my boys?
Yeah, what's nothing? What's going on with you, Michael? You a little sweaty?
I had a little basketball game earlier, yo. I scored 40, so I'm a little tired.
How many did you actually score?
Actually, 40.
Are you sure?
Swear on my mother.
Did you win?
Yeah, I won. Me and my boy were killing, I'm always nice, man. It's like a 20 and 40 league, 20 plus and up, so it's pretty good. So I want to shout out to all my great teammates. So
yeah,
let's get to Adam. Let's get the show started, boys.
Yeah, and just so you know, for those of you who don't know, like I said on last episode that I would be getting my COVID vaccine on April 12th, and I did. I got the Pfizer one. It's the first dose. I'll be going back for my second one in 3 weeks, and for most part, I had little to no side effects. It was mostly just some arm pain,
yeah, that's basically
just some mild arm pain, and that's pretty.
Speaking of COVID vaccines, I'm about to get my second one on April 29th. Oh. So just throw it out there. So the second one, they say hurts.
Yeah, the second one they say is a killer. I mean,
yeah.
So I'm not looking forward to that.
So I'm telling.
So yeah, before we do get started, we just, again, we don't like to talk about non-sports issues on this podcast. So, and we're not going to spend too much time on this, but our thoughts and prayers go out to Dante Wright and the entire Black community after the tragic shooting that occurred in Minnesota. And also there was also another one, I believe it was a 13-year-old.
I believe there's a bunch that happened this week.
But there's a bunch of stories, both police and just there's also another in Tennessee. So again, thoughts and prayers to all families affected.
Honestly, for me, I grew up in the hood, so growing up, you see a lot of stuff like this. Police brutality, all this. Speaking of a guy that had been arrested before for protests for Black Lives Matter out there on September 23rd, I was out there supporting my rights.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing all the revolutions. It's a start and it's a progress. Yeah. People that don't say, "Oh, we support Black Lives Matter," we don't. It's not a trend. It's a way of life. People got to realize that. I know this is our sports podcast, and I'm sorry for our viewers that I'm getting political. This is a serious matter.
It is.
This war has been going on for generations to generations. It's been going since slavery, since Black people were imported. I'm sorry.
I mean, we're not gonna get we're not gonna get into this. Well, if you want to call it a quote unquote political issue, if you want to call it. I mean,
it's not about that show.
I mean,
keep it in sports.
I mean, we're not gonna spend a whole episode talking about this because we are a sports podcast. So that's what we are going to talk about. But we just want to let you know, we're not tone deaf. We know what's going on in the world right now. And just thoughts and prayers to you, Michael, and Marcellus, and the entire Black and Asian community. Right now, and the recent tragedies has been going on, in the past weeks and months or so, and however long. I mean, I think we need to move on. You guys know I hate talking about this stuff. So you guys want to talk to sports? You guys want to talk to sports and because that's what this podcast. We're supposed to be kind of like the candy store,
Yeah, we got to address the issues too.
I'm not that candy shop.
I agree, Michael. I agree. But
definitely.
I agree, but
because we don't know what's going on in the world unless we do something about what's going on.
Exactly. You make a great point.
I remember last year during the playoffs for basketball, they refused to play a game because Milwaukee is representing the team that got killed. A police officer killing somebody, an African American. So let's change the topic before I go on and on about the government. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna go.
yeah.
I go from
Exactly. Like we're not going to turn this into a political civil rights show, but we do like to mention it just so we are not
because
tone
me and
deaf.
Sal, me and my cousin, Sal, we'll go on this for days, right, cousin?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so
That's right.
All right,
right,
so guess what, guys? We
What's
are
cracking,
gonna
Adam?
open up this show with hockey. Our
Adam, you know
first
brothers
ever
can't skate
time
now.
talking hockey on this podcast. So wait, before we even get to talking hockey, I completely forgot to mention. I am so sorry, but we have a guest joining us. Alex, it's your
Shame on you,
introduce our guest.
This is my good friend Devin Hastie. We've met each other over Zoom. I think it's been like 2 summers ago, and he works at Anheuser-Busch, which is a beer company, and I did some work for them, and since
Where's the beer,
then,
man?
and since then we've been communicating so much about like baseball, hockey, and getting to know what Devin likes, and not to mention that he is a Toronto Raptors fan.
Oh God, he gotta go. He gotta go now.
Yeah,
So-
Raptors.
Well, thanks for having me on, lads. It's exciting to get the invite. I'm hoping I'm your first Canadian guest too. So
Oh,
I think you are.
You're Canadian. Okay, he gets a free pass. Canadians have great beers. So, Devin, welcome
sure.
aboard.
thanks,
I've
Michael.
been-
Thanks, Chris.
All right.
Alex, I got a question about our guest, if you don't mind, Alex. Want to
Yeah.
ask him a question?
Sure.
So, Devin, what sports you played? Since you're a major hockey fan, what hockey team do you support? Or the teams in Canada or the Toronto Maple Leafs? Because I'm not a fan of hockey. I just know that the Maple Leafs suck. Is that?
When you grow up where I grew up, you're born and bred into Maple Leaf land. But I am a hockey fan, Michael. So I have the Leafs are my favorite team, but I follow quite a few teams. St. Louis Blues are also on my list because of the Anheuser-Busch connection. And then I follow players and some teams, some guys that I grew up playing with that ended up playing in the show too.
All right.
Like
So
So
getting back to hockey, we are going to talk. The reason why we're talking is that the NHL Trade Deadline recently passed, and there were a bunch of moves that that we gotta break down. But there are 2 moves in particular that I want to highlight. Devin, David, Alex, if you have any moves you want to mention, you can bring them up. But there's one move that I want to touch upon. Devin, I'm going to get your take really quick. But the Islanders and like my favorite team, unfortunately, the New Jersey Devils, recently made a trade. It involves sending 2 longtime New Jersey Devils players, Kyle Palmieri, Travis Zajac. I love those guys. I'm going to miss them, to the Islanders for, I believe, a 2021 first-round pick and a couple of fourth-round picks, I believe. So, as a Devils fan, I'm going to give my brief thoughts on the trade. I knew it was going to happen, like, because there was a lot of rumors leading up to the trade that Kyle Palmieri's the Devils and like Palmieri like couldn't work out because you don't know, Kyle Palmieri is due to be a free agent at the end of the year, and the Devils and Palmieri couldn't work out an extension. So they did the only thing they could, and they ended up trading him to a team like the Islanders. I think could really view that. I was thinking like that was the team that, in my opinion, could have used Palmieri because that could use like a top line goal scorer like Palmieri. And like and also Travis Zajac, who has been a really long time Devil, he just recently played his 1,000th game with the club, and he's been there. He was actually the last Devil to actually he was actually like the last member of the team that had actually played in the Meadowlands. So Travis Zajac has been with the team for a long time. So but ultimately as a Devils fan, I'm happy with the move. We got a first-round pick. The Devils are not a good team. We completely suck this season. We're clearly in rebuilding mode. So it's just they're stockpiling assets they can use to build around this young core. They have Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Mackenzie Blackwood, Ty Smith. When he comes up, he's probably gonna come up eventually. Alexander Holtz. I think this is ultimately a move of like. Part of me doesn't like as a Devils fan because I hate to see Palmieri and Zajac go, but Devin, I want to hear what you think. I think it's a move that, as at least from a Devils fan perspective, that they had to make.
It's a move they got to make, Adam, right? I think it's Tommy Fitzgerald doing his due diligence.
Yeah.
And I think you said it best is the expiring contracts. If you take a look at the moves that happened at the deadline, most of the moves were expiring contracts because of, the State of the Union, COVID, moving into Canada with the quarantine, right? You think about the cap situation, a flat cap for the next 3 years, and then the Seattle expansion draft. What a great moves. Even the Kulikov deal, I think, was great to get assets. But then you look at Lou, right? And you guys know Lou if you're a Jersey fan.
Oh, man, we love Lou.
Yeah. Sitting in the weeds, he was in on everybody, but nobody, right? Nobody ever knows what Lou's going to do. And when everybody thought Hall was going to New York, he goes and pulls off this deal.
Yeah, I mean, Lou Lamoriello is clearly like I honestly don't think he gets enough credit when we're talking about like the greatest sports GMs. He's one of the greatest sports GMs of all time, in my opinion. He's just been so good with the way he built up the New Jersey Devils like dynasty from 1995 to 2003. Like he just did so amazing job, and he's done a great job with the Islanders. I mean, can we talk for a second about how many like former Devils are with the Islanders? You got Lou Lamoriello, you got Andy Green, you got Corey Schneider, now you got Kyle Palmieri and Travis Zajac. So, I mean, it's nuts. But look at it from an Islanders perspective. I think they definitely won this deal as well. They got Kyle Palmieri, who's like a legitimate like 30-goal scorer. They got Travis Zajac, he won't do much as a Devils fan. Like I can tell you right now, he won't do you much for you offensively. He is a beast like defender. He's one of the best. He's a really good like defensive forward. So and he's like really good at faceoff. So he's definitely still, in my opinion, a reliable piece. And I definitely think he still has like a lot left in the tank. So if you're an Islanders fan, I think this is a clear sign they're going all in on this year. There's a clear sign they're going all in to try and make a run winning the cup this year, and I definitely think like this is a move that the Islanders had to make as well.
I got a question for Mr. Devin, if y'all don't mind.
Yeah, Mike.
Devin, if you can just react quickly to the trade from the Islanders perspective, and Michael, you can ask your question.
Yeah, it might be the deal of the deadline, to be honest, right? Like if you think about what Boston did with Hall and maybe didn't give up anything. But Taylor Hall and his self-proclaimed lack of confidence, he may not have any impact on the team. The Foligno deal to Toronto, I liked for impact, but this might be the deal of the deadline, man. Good for both teams, like you said, Adam.
Well, question
definitely. Michael, go ahead.
So, who do you think is the best player in hockey? Because I heard that Sidney Crosby is a player of the best player in the league today. 7-time MVP awards. And who thinks the best team in the league, like in the last decade? Because I heard the Blackhawks. I'm not a hockey fan. I heard that the Blackhawks were that team in the 2000s, in the 2010 era.
All right, Devin. Before you ask this question, I want to just give my quick thoughts for you, Michael. Yes, but for a long time it was Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby is like gonna go down as one of the greatest like players of all time. Like even people who don't know hockey like notice, but Michael, Devin, I just want to give the floor to you. Teach Michael here a little less about a man by the name of Connor McDavid.
I think he actually said his name wrong. Connor McJesus, I think is what we call him.
Adam, that's what you get, you smart ass. Tell him. Get him, Devin. Expose him.
Well, Crosby had his due.
Adam got exposed. Adam got exposed.
Crosby had his due, but it's I think there's a tier in the NHL, and McJesus is in a tier of his own. So Connor McDavid, he's from. I live in the same town that he grew up in, so Newmarket, Ontario, and a friend of mine has actually done some work at his mom and dad's house. And
wow. I'm jealous.
Connor comes back and skates. So my kids actually do hockey schools at the arena that Connor does some summer training at, and then he also gets some ice at the arena that I play hockey at still currently. So yeah,
What position you play?
I'm a little biased. Connor does things that humans aren't supposed to be able to do.
That's biased, man.
He operates at a speed that the game hasn't seen, and he's actually gets faster with the puck on a stick. So I'd say Connor right now. I'd say Crosby's still top 5 in the game though.
He's still top 5.
Yeah, what he does, but I would say if
Ovechkin's still up there, I still think Patrick Kane's still up there.
Yeah, I'd have Ovi and Patty Kane probably duking it out for 5. But I think if if the NHL redrafted their teams every year, McJesus or McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Nate Dogg, and Austin Matthews would go top 3 every year. Those are the 3 guys that every team in the NHL is going to take 1, 2, and 3. Probably Connor first, and then Austin or McKinnon second or third, depending on the team. And then you're going to see Crosby, and then probably Ovi and Kaner are the other ones in there.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Don't at me, Michael. Don't at me.
Wait, what? What did I do?
Yeah, Chris, I know you're not a big hockey fan, but I'll ask you. You've heard of like how good Connor McDavid is, right?
Oh, definitely. I still heard the top.
I don't know why somebody said come at me for. I don't know why it gets
I want to get signed like
how special McDavid is still.
Hey, first
he is
of all,
just unbelievable.
I just got called out. Somebody called me out and says, I heard somebody call me out on this podcast, so I'm gonna get you for that, Mr. Devin.
All right.
On the basketball.
Boy.
David said it best. What about Ovechkin though?
Ovechkin's still pretty good. Ovechkin's still pretty good. He's still amazing.
There's no brothers in the hockey league. I don't know why they don't got much brothers in the league. You know what I'm saying?
I think Mike doesn't understand the whole first African Canadian hockey player who did play hockey.
Born Black African American from this country.
I think his name
is from Canada. I've been to Canada. It's a beautiful country. Beautiful women run topless every year. But point is, if there ain't no brothers playing in the NFL. I mean in the NHL. My bad.
Which one?
Actually, wait.
I want to call Michael out here, guys. When he says as though like brothers in the NHL, 2 words. Well, actually 3 if you want to call it. P.K. Subban. He is. He's awesome.
He's great for the game too.
He's great for the game, and I'm so happy he's on the Devils, man. He's always one of my favorite players, and like how big of a presence he is. I just so happy I can look at him and say that guy plays for my favorite team.
I love that. Well, and the other thing is we're talking about McDavid, but a guy who's made McDavid look good, and when you talk about hockey and inclusion right now, is Darnell Nurse. He could be the Norris Trophy winner, and when you speak about black guys playing in the NHL, Michael, he's probably as good a defenseman as there is. And then I don't know, did you guys see that history was made a couple weeks ago in the AHL? The was the Ontario Reign had the first black line where they had Devontae Smith-Pelly, Quentin Byfield, who was the 2nd overall draft pick in the draft last year, and Akil Thomas as the first all black line to ever play together in a hockey game. So
honestly, I grew up in the hood, so we didn't play hood hockey. We only played roller hockey. You know what I'm saying?
Wayne Simmons came to my favorite team, the Leafs, this year, and I was actually doing some research on him, and some of the programs that he's done in the inner city in Philadelphia when he was a Flyer is pretty amazing. What he did with just ball hockey or street hockey and floor hockey. I did hear that. Yeah, it's pretty cool, David?
Yeah, it's really
David
cool.
don't know nothing.
Introducing hockey to the cities that don't have it, right? So,
first of all, it's the puck when it comes to hockey.
All right. Alex, I want to give you an opportunity to speak. Do you have any thoughts on like the deadline and anything we talk about?
So Devin, I know that Michael Raffle is gone from Philadelphia. What do you see in the next draft to overcome that spot for Philadelphia?
Yeah, that's a good question, Alex. And I think First of all, let's not sleep on what Washington did at the deadline. They sneakily added some hockey players. I think Raffle, who it might not even play to the playoffs, if I understand correctly, with his injury, but he'll be a good add for them on their bottom six. And then bringing in the Mantha, they paid a big price, is huge. Gives just some depth scoring and fills out kind of their top six where they had some gaps. A guy that can play with like Backstrom and Oshie, right? So that's a good point. That was a sneaky deal adding Raffle. But I think when you think about drafts, I think the next couple years, this year, if you look at it, the major juniors in Canada really haven't been playing because of the effect on COVID. If you look in the U.S., the NCAA has had some playing. Is if I'm drafting this year, I'm going to want to look at the NCAA really hard because you're not going to have a real good look or a real good feel of anybody that's playing major junior in Canada this year. So if you're looking to fill that spot, I don't think the draft's the way to go right now. You got to kind of develop from within. And I think, Alex, what are some of the guys in Philly that you see maybe are going to be able to crack, or some guys that are at Lehigh that are going to be able to crack the lineup here shortly?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I just heard some great news. Yo, I'm sorry, but this is gonna be my hot take. After it's not gonna be about hockey.
We'll get to that in a second, Michael. But go ahead, David. Devin, finish up.
Yeah, I don't think the draft's going to be the way to go right now, guys.
I agree. Like I think like the draft this past 2 years. I mean, in recent memory, like we see guys like Jack Hughes, Capo Caco, Alexis Lafreniere. I think those are like the heavy drafts where you're gonna see a lot. We're gonna see a lot of like those big time players come out, and they come out. I've heard like the draft like in like the future years is good. It's gonna be like kind of on the weaker side. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and in a cap world, I think the interesting thing is teams need to fill out their lineup with young players on like entry level contracts. But if you look at what some of the teams, and again, I'll go back to the Leafs because it's what I know, is getting veterans like Jason Spezza and Joe Thornton to sign for the league minimum. I think that's going to be the route that a lot of GMs are going to have to take because they're just not going to know what they're getting because the kids haven't been playing a lot of hockey, right?
Yeah. Devin, I want to ask you one more question, then we can like transition like away from hockey. I think like in past years, like in the NHL, we see a lot of hockey players. They come out like and they make instant impacts. We saw like that with Connor McDavid. We saw that with like Alex Ovechkin, like Sidney Crosby, Patrick Kane. Now we look at some of the recent like high draft picks, like they've taken a little bit of time to get going. Like we saw Jack Hughes like struggle his rookie year, but now he's had like a big he's like showed some promise in his sophomore year. He's been inconsistent at times, but he's still showing a lot of promise. Like you see it with Capo Caco, like same thing. And Alexis Lafreniere, he got off to a slow start, but like he's starting to learn his game. Like I think in the modern NHL, it's harder for these kids to come out and like make an instant impact.
Yeah, it's a good. It takes a special person to be 18 years old and go into a league to play with men.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if you think of Austin Matthews is another guy who made an impact, but you look at guys like Mitch Marner and some of these other guys that had to spend some time in the minors to get some seasoning before they cracked the NHL. Yeah. Quentin Byfield, what LA is doing with Byfield, I think is super smart. That, if a different year, like if this was another year, they would have had to put him on the NHL team or send him back to junior, but they had an opportunity to set him in the AHL this year. And Montreal's doing it with Cole Caulfield. They instead of putting him in the NHL where he's an 18-year-old playing with men, they can put him in the AHL and let him season a little bit. Right?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I just want to say, if you're a Devils or Rangers fan, I think the future of like your like high draft picks like with Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Capo Caco, and Lux Lafreniere, they're not like among your conservative teams. I think all four of those players are gonna be big time players, and I think all four of those guys are gonna be studs.
They're gonna be studs. And again, like think Jack Hughes, he hasn't even grown into his man body yet. He's 19.
He's still technically a teenager.
He's a teenager, right? He could have still went to the World Juniors this year. And Lafreniere he was a kid in a man's body playing against kids. and you take a French kid and move him into New York City and put him in a man's league, it's he's going to take some time to adjust, but he's going to be okay. He's still as good as he was when they drafted him, right?
I agree. Fun fact: I actually met Jack Hughes once.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
The Hughes kids are special.
like a fan fest. Like I love the entire like Hughes family of Jack. You got Quinn Hughes, and you got Luke, who's actually coming out of the draft this year. This is gonna be like my hot take. I'm not gonna replace it with your hot take, Michael, but I'm gonna call this Adam's hot take. I think the Hughes family.
Hell no. Hell.
All right. But I think the Hughes family, like Jack, Quinn,
Hell.
and Luke, it's gonna go down as the Manning family of hockey.
The American family. That's a tough bill.
The Manning family of hockey.
Did I get replaced? Did I just get replaced on my hot?
There's I mean, even though Wayne Gretzky's
Adam, go F yourself with a huge giant blow. You're my hot take. I had a great hot take today.
You're still gonna get your hot take. Don't worry, Michael.
God, I'm just saying.
I think that's going to be a hard one though, Adam. When you think about even Brent Gretzky, like maybe scored one goal in the NHL, but Wayne and Brent as the Manning family are kind of hard to overcome, right?
I mean, obviously Gretzky, but obviously, like you can't compare to Gretzky, but but it's like kind of like I think like Jack and Quinn are both gonna be studs. I won't be surprised if Luke's pretty good too. So
they're going to be studs.
They're gonna be studs. Yeah.
I think maybe Keith Kachuk and his boys might have something to say about that too. But
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of competition, but
there's some good families. But if you look at the Hughes boys, they grew up in the NHL world, right? Their dad was was a scout, so they've grown up around pro players and pro environment their whole lives.
Yeah, definitely. So any final thoughts, guys?
All right.
All right.
You forgot me for my perspective.
Oh, go ahead, David. I think we got to. You did right. Just go ahead. Just go ahead.
Devin, I was going to ask you some questions about what do you think of Scott Martin re-signed to Flyers?
Yeah, I don't know much about him. I mean, my Flyers guy. If I have questions on the Flyers, I go to Alex. Right, he's the guy that knows it. But so Lyon is he the goaltender?
I think he's a goaltender.
Oh, Lawton. Yeah, sorry, Lawton. I thought that was a great deal. If you ask Alex, I said to him before the deadline, he's the one guy I wanted to get to Toronto. If I'm Toronto or if I'm a team making a cup run and I needed a guy that's true, like a guy that can play in the top six or can play in your bottom six, Scotty Lawton was my guy. And I think I even heard, didn't Fletcher say he woke up that morning not knowing what he was going to do, if he was going to deal him or re-sign him. And I think that was a great deal for them to get him on. What, a 5-year deal? Is that what it was?
I think so. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. He's a prototypical Flyer, though, lads, right? Like, that guy plays the game the right way.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it cap friendly, David. Right. See what he did sign for.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the best kept, like under 2.5. They got him for under $5 million. They got him for. Oh, they got him for $15 million for 5 years, $3 million a year. That's a good deal.
Yeah, it is.
All right. I hate to cut this thing short, but we are like running but we're sorry. But clock is saying that, so we're gonna move on. Devin, we thank you for coming out. You want to stick around for the rest of the show?
I'd love to stick around for Michael's hot take. If I
all right. So we are moving on to this segment. It was great talking hockey. Obviously, like I wanted to get in some hockey talk with the NHL Trade Deadline. I'm surprised. I thought I was gonna rant about how much the Devils suck, but I made it through without ranting really. So proud of myself for that. So moving on. Mike's hot take. Michael, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am so happy to be a Knicks and Laker fan, but mostly a Laker fan today, because I just found out that Kobe Bryant, the person that's going to induct him, is his childhood idol, Michael Jordan. That made me as a basketball fan. You know what I'm saying? The two greatest NBA players of all time inducting Kobe is Michael Jordan. It should have been Michael Jordan hands down. I think Jordan should induct him. Vanessa, Shaq, and all the people that made Kobe should speak on his behalf. You know what I'm saying? That's two.
I agree.
Kobe and Jordan are the two most I can't say the word. Are the two biggest reasons why people fall in love with the game of basketball. Am I right, Chris?
I would agree with that. I think. Yeah.
In this decade, from 1990 to 2010, there were only two players. It was Kobe and Jordan. What do you think? So you agree with me on that one, Pimpin'? Okay, so I was in La La Land. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree, mate.
As a basketball fan, growing up watching Kobe play all my life, the number 8 was my item. Was like my favorite number, and 24 and 23. Those are the 3 numbers I wanted to play in. If you didn't have number 8 for me, I'm wearing 24. If you didn't have number 24, I'm wearing 23. If you didn't have 23, I'm wearing 25. The reason why we fell in love with this game for a reason was the love of what the best players had. You know what I mean? We all practice in our driveways. I don't know about Devin. I know Devin played basketball growing up, but, we all played it. We all fell in love with the game for a reason. I think we all practice want to be that, hit that final shot at the buzzer, imitating our favorite players. Like, I think Kobe was that for Jordan, and Kobe was that kid for me. When we say Kobe, Jordan, Jimmer, we all love the game. As like 6 fans of the game, we fell in love with it. You know what I'm saying, boys?
Even Canadian kids,
yeah.
Michael, every time they shoot a piece of paper into the trash basket, they say Kobe. Or kids picking up pucks. Yeah. When they pick up pucks and put them in the back bucket, they shoot the pucks and they say Kobe.
I think we all grew up on it. Kobe was our Jordan. What Kobe was how can I explain it? How the 80s was Magic and Bird, how Jordan was to the 90s, how Kobe was for the 2000s, how LeBron is to 2010s. That's how great basketball was, because Kobe dominated from 2000 to 2010. People didn't realize that. Honestly, I believe Kobe should have more MVPs than Steve Nash, in my opinion. I'm just saying, because I'm totally freaking biased. That one year when Kobe was averaging 30 and 5 and 8 a season.
Kobe does have more MVPs than Nash, doesn't he?
No, Kobe has 1. Steve Nash has 2. Which I believe
I did not. I could. When you think of how much of an icon Kobe is, you'd assume we have more.
I believe Kobe should have more MVPs. He got robbed because the NBA was transitioning to a different game. I don't think Steve Nash wasn't that good until the league changed, because he was a soft of a player. If you give me Gary Payton, Allen Iverson, Jason Kidd, or Muggsy Bogues, I'm picking all those 4 before I pick Steve Nash in the pickup game, hands down.
Is this your hot take? That's a bad thing.
No. Here's why. Because Steve Nash is a soft player. He couldn't handle playing in the hood. He couldn't handle it. You go for a layup. Steve Nash goes for a layup. He's not going to make it in the hood. All right, hey, don't get mad. I'm just speaking my truth. You think Steve Nash will play well in the hood?
No, but that wasn't the point you made at first. You take Muggsy Bogues over Steve Nash?
No, I'm talking about hood basketball.
No, I know. At first, I didn't
playing in the hood. We're playing in the hood with street ball, Matt, with Adam. No. You will pick Steve Nash in the hood. Steve Nash will get bodied because he's so soft.
Adam, if we're gonna talk about if we're talking about like the physicality aspect, I guess I hear.
Come on,
I mean,
if you put me
like one of the greatest point guards of all time, he's easy.
He's the greatest NBA point guard, one of the greatest NBA point guards. But if you put him in the street ball league, he wouldn't survive.
Yeah, because he's more of a versatility. He's more of a passer.
He's a finesse guy.
But I don't understand why you can hold that against him.
He's not a special player, though.
But yeah, honestly, you put a street ball player in the NBA, they will suck. Like if you put the professor in the NBA now, he wouldn't play. Half the things he does is freaking travels. If you put like Rayford Austin, who can adjust from the NBA to street ball, if you would have did some street ball stuff like the between the legs, all that, head off the ball, all them fancy dribbling, he would have made money off of it. Like the Sham God. That's like my all-time favorite crossover. It's the Sham God. You guys like ask me, you're looking at me, what the hell is the Sham God? The Sham God is the most deadliest crossover. Yo, Chris, you ever got Sham God on somebody? You ever did the Sham God on somebody?
I have not.
I know Alex can't cross over. He dribbles like a 2-year-old, but still, all joking aside, I believe, now back to get to my point, I'm saying Kobe should have his own should have had his own Hall of Fame class to himself. That's how good of a player he was.
I mean, I definitely could see your point. I definitely like
See
see your point. I definitely agree with you on a lot you're saying. I definitely think like I think Kobe's introduction like will be probably like will go down as like the most emotional like Hall of Fame introduction I think of all time.
Maybe crying my eyes out because
I definitely will be.
there are 5 NBA players I wanted to be.
I think MJ will definitely be there. I think I definitely agree. I think Shaq should speak. I think Vanessa obviously will be there. I think it's gonna be like a really, really emotional night, and man, it's gonna hit like the basket. It's gonna hit myself, you, Michael, Marcellus, all of us. I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna hit the basketball world like no other way. You consider like not only like about the tragedy of his passing, but like just how much of an icon he was. You know, I think it's gonna be a very emotional night. So
people are going to remember where John Lennon was where were you when John Lennon died? Yeah. Where were you when John F. Kennedy died? And where were you when Kobe Bryant died? Like those 3 things hurt. I remember, I don't care what sport you played, hockey, football, baseball, basketball, lacrosse, or whatever sport you played, you had to know who 2 people were, Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali. You had to know those 3 people. That's the only
Wait, there's 4. I want the 4. Derek Jeter.
But people don't know who Derek Jeter is. Some people don't. I'm just saying. But
yeah, I mean he's up there, but I think
But I believe that
Derek Jeter is up there though. I mean
Kobe, Jordan, and Muhammad Ali were household names.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Kobe Bryant is probably the most smartest NBA player ever. A brother won a freaking Oscar too. He had unbelievable talent, and his daughter Gigi, who was probably going to be the greatest women's basketball player of all time, besides Cheryl Miller. Bros, that talent that he taught his daughter, how moves she was doing at 13, I seen dudes can't do until they're 30.
Yeah, that
you had the greatest scorer teach you the game of basketball. You're going to be something. I don't care how old you are. I'm saying how LeBron's son, Brian James, is one of the best in his draft class, in his high school class. However, I'm from Camden, so I'm going to be biased. I'm going to say Juwan Wagner Jr. is the best sophomore in the country. Watch his highlights. He's an animal. I'm telling you that now. And this has been enough of my hot take because I'm going to be emotional and start crying.
Oh, man.
Shout out to Kobe.
Man. I just want to let you know that night, like his Hall of Fame induction somewhere, I'm going to be eating a lot of ice cream, just so you guys know.
Man, I'm going to be in tears crying my ass off.
Michael, you be eating ice cream?
I'll be drinking and crying.
Chris, you gonna have ice cream?
Definitely will be.
All right, Marcellus, you gonna have ice cream?
Marcellus gonna be at the bar drinking.
A whole night of beer and ice cream for us. So, Michael, great hot take. I mean, you've been like on fire with your hot takes. I mean, I think right now you're like 11 for 12 in my approval rating. You missed on one, and that you only missed on one so far.
I said that the Chris Jenkins shot wasn't the greatest college shot of all time. They still on me about it.
No, we imagine him putting your top 5. It's just a joke.
You guys won't let it go. No. It wasn't that impressive.
He didn't. Devin, for his no, he didn't put the Jenkins the Villanova shot like in his top 5 greatest basketball shots of all time.
It wasn't that impressive. He just chucked it up and shoot it. How impressive is that? Just threw it up. You threw it up. That's not impressive.
All right.
Give a leprechaun that shot.
All right.
I had him as a ghost pepper hot take there, Adam. But after that, I might have to down him to like chili pepper on that.
Damn, Devin. Listen, Canadian. Don't make me roast you on this hot take on this podcast. I got a lot of Canadian jokes, but I'm not going to do it.
He already roasted the Leafs. I had to take that personally, Michael.
Hey, back to you. I can't say we can't be racist to Canadians, Adam. This is a non-racist show.
I agree. So, but again, anyway, great hot take, Michael. Like, you brought the heat as always. So we're gonna move on right now to another kind of like not kind of like sad tragic story. LaMarcus Aldridge recently retired from the NBA, and for those who don't know, like he recently was having like I believe some heart problems, and he started having like during like after the Nets game against the Timberwolves, and the Nets took him to the hospital, and I believe the hospital cleared him to go, but apparently the results like were really scary to DeMarcus, so he thought to himself, I'm not risking this. You know, I still got a lot left to live. I played 15 years in the NBA, and he ultimately decided to call it a career. He released this statement on Twitter. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up to read it for you guys. Just all right, here it is. Today I write this letter with a heavy heart. My last game I played while dealing with a irregular heartbeat. Later on that night, my rhythm got even worse, which really worried me even more. Next morning, I told the team what was going on, and they were Reich gave me to the hospital and gave me checked out. Though I'm better now, what I felt with my heart that night was still one of the scariest things I've experienced. With that being said, I made the decision to retire from the NBA. For 15 years, I put basketball first, and now it's time to put my health and family first. I'm grateful for everything this game has given me. The great memories, including all the ups and the downs, and the friendships I made, it will keep me forever. I thank Portland for drafting a skinny kid and giving me a chance. The city of Portland has given me some unforgettable years. They will always remain in my heart. I want to thank the Spurs for letting me into a family and giving me 5 home years. Last but not least, I want to thank Brooklyn. You wanted me in a game that's changing so much. You asked me to come in and just do what I do, which is good here. I'm sorry I didn't get the last song, but I definitely had fun being a part of this special group. You never know when something will come to an end, so make sure you enjoy every day. I can truly say I did just that. LaMarcus Aldridge. So I'll give my Nets fans perspective on this a little bit, but I obviously I don't think any decent human being can be mad at LaMarcus for this. I mean, he's played 15 years in the NBA. You know, he's had a great career, but his health and like his health is ultimately more important. So as a Nets fan, like we think, I just want to say thank you for Marcus for even though it was short lived, it was great to have you as a net. And we really wish you all the best going forward, and hope you hope he recovers.
Definitely. So yeah, you talked about it, but definitely just wish him the best going forward. And it's really rare, but we've seen other players deal with some heart issues in the past, which you can't take lightly at all. So he's had a great career, so I definitely understand him retiring. I'm sure it hurt him because I know he really wanted to be a part of this Brooklyn postseason and potential title run, but he had to do what was best for him, so I definitely get that. But also from the Nets' perspective, this doesn't change anything for them. They're still the favorite in most people's eyes, probably to win it all. So we wish Aldridge well, but the Nets won't miss a beat too much without him.
Honestly,
Michael, I'm gonna get to you in a second, but I want to just jump on what you said, Chris. I'm a little bit more concerned about it than you are. I don't think it has a major impact on Nets, but when you consider how big of a weakness their rim protection was, to lose one of your best probably one of your best big men on the team, I still think it's a blow. It's not a huge blow, but I still think it's a blow. But I don't think it's anything that that this can't recover on. They still have DeAndre Jordan, who's still a pretty good who's still while he's still a backup at this point of career, he still can provide you some good minutes. And I think the big thing is the emergence of Nicholas Claxton. I would be much more concerned about this, if Nicholas Claxton has been as good as he was. But I think with how good Nicholas Claxton has been, I definitely think this definitely isn't a huge loss for the Nets. I agree.
Yeah, I think Claxton, Griffin, and Jordan can get the job done at this spot.
I agree.
But we'll see how it goes playoff time.
Michael, go ahead.
Honestly, it was his time. Played a good years. 7-time All-Star, 2012, 2013, 2014, 15, 16, 18, 19. He had a hell of a resume that some players don't get to be able to do in his career. I think it was good for him to find out now, and then him passing out on the court, because it's basketball is a deadly game, And I think you got to worry about the owners and the physicians knowing about this. They should have, when you go to training camp, you should know about it. But some NBA players want to hide it. You know what I mean, Chris? You know what I mean, Adam? You know how it is.
Yeah, I get
They want to
that.
hide
But
it.
also, but on the test, they also didn't really find anything. So maybe.
Yeah, but they got to have more tests because I'd rather them find out
I
during.
agree. But I mean, if he has no symptoms,
I
they
agree.
don't. It's hard to
I
catch
agree.
that.
I mean,
It's hard to catch.
I mean,
stuff
look
like
what
that.
happened to Karis LeVert. Like,
Yeah.
he ultimately got trade. He ultimately like Karis ultimately said like that trade ultimately saved his life because if the Nets had traded him, they might have not had detected the cancer in time. So, I mean, so it's definitely scary
He's already
stuff.
back playing.
David, go ahead.
I just wanted to give a shout out to LaMarcus Aldridge for being the best player. But as far as I think I kind of remember throughout when I was growing up, like 2000s and 2010s. But Mike talked about his awards, like it's impressive, but like it's just like looking back, it just reminds me of how backward was really what really is, and his talent. But I mean, all these 2000s players. I mean, some of them have to go. Some of them don't have to, but it's their decision.
I can see a point. Marcellus, I mean, you want to chime in? What are your thoughts on like the Marcus Aldridge retiring?
I mean, it's a pretty serious thing on the regular heartbeat, man. I think it's the right time to do such because if he's playing like that, it's not really a good thing to do. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate. I mean, he had a good career though.
I mean, it's definitely unfortunate. I definitely agree with you there, but I definitely think it's the right move for him personally. Like it's definitely the right move. Like I just hope that he like gets his health in order and he goes on to live like many more years and has a great rest of his life. So his health is definitely like no support thing. Devin, you guys you want to say?
I thought that Mike hit it on the head when he said, the teams, they do all the physicals and they do the testing, but sometimes you don't see that stuff until it just surfaces, right? Like, takes me back to Rich Peverly, a hockey player, when he played for Dallas Stars. He literally dropped dead on the bench, right? Like, they revived him. He had a heart attack on the bench. He had something similar to what Aldridge had, and they revived him. Now, he's had to retire from hockey, and he's made a life in hockey. So he's got into, the scouting and doing some of the head office work. And same thing. I hope that Aldridge has the same idea, that has a career. He may be able to have, a life in basketball after, but good for him for doing what's right for him and ultimately his family, right? Like,
Definitely.
They need him.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with you there. Again, that's like what was most important, like his health and family. Like, that's definitely like should come first priority. So so any final thoughts on from anyone about LaMarcus Aldridge? Any final thoughts?
Nope.
All right, we're running a little bit long time, so you guys know what time it is. It's time for our bets of the episode. So, Devin, since you're a guest here, if you don't know what we do at the end of every episode, each of us, we open up whatever sports book we are in. We ultimately place one. Well, sometimes we may place multiple depending on our rules, but for most part, we each pick one bet and we keep standing. So, to give an update on the standings, to recap last week, I ultimately got an NA because I picked the Blues over the Wild on the money line. That game ultimately got postponed due to, as we mentioned, the situation to mention all the shootings that the shooting took place in Minnesota. So that game got postponed. So I ultimately got an NA. That means I will be getting an extra bet to make this week. To make for this episode. Alex, you took an L. You had the Jets over the Senators on the money line. You took an L there. David also got an NA. He had the Phillies over the Mets on the money line. that game got rained out. So that game ultimately got rained out, and I was thinking about and I didn't know how to score this, David, because they ultimately they ultimately played a doubleheader the next day, but I believe doubleheaders now are only 7 innings, so I thought it would be weird to score you for a game that you assumed would be 9 innings. So I decided to also just give you an NA. So like myself, there you can make two bets for this episode. So
Cool.
Chris, you took a W. You took the Sixers over the Mavericks. You won that one. Marcellus, my man, you are on a hot streak. You've run now 4 straight bets. You had the 76ers over the Mavericks on the money line, and you had the Suns over the Rockets on the money line as well. So Marcellus, you have now won 4 straight. Congratulations.
Right there. Let's keep it going.
Last but not least, Michael took it out. He had the Jazz over the Wizards on the money line. The Wizards pulled off the upset over the Jazz, and Michael, you ultimately lost your bet. So to give it up on the standings, Chris is in first place. His record is 6-5, 56.24 points. David's in second place, 5-5 record, 49.09 points. Michael, you're in third place, 5-6 record, 48.82 points. I'm in fourth place, 4-6 record, 36.94 points. Alex, I believe your record is 5-6, 36.69 points. And Marcellus is in last place. He's at 4-9, 16.68 points. We're just so you know, Marcellus, we're gonna do something in the future to boop up your score because 60.68 points is, in my opinion, too low. So we will boop up your score in the future once all our bets are more even. So I'm ultimately gonna go first here, and I get to make 2 bets for
We didn't discuss this.
I told you I got an A, so I get to make 2 bets. You don't like it, Michael? Do you have a complaint?
I like it. We didn't just. Boy, you better hope we get off this podcast. You did. Okay, tell us, Adam. What's
all right. I'm making 2 bets. I am making a baseball one, and I'm making a basketball one. As for baseball, I got the White Sox over the Red Sox on the money line. We look at right now, the Red Sox are off to a very hot start to the season. They're 9-4 record. They're playing great baseball, but ultimately, I think in the long term, they're not going to be a better team than the Chicago White Sox. The Chicago White Sox are, in my opinion, the second best team, at least talent wise, in the American League. I think they're going to start to get hot. We saw recently the no hitter recently was we saw on Wednesday that the almost perfect game that was pitched by Colin Rodon threw a no hitter. He almost threw a perfect game if it wasn't for one hit by pitch in the 9th inning. So I definitely think the White Sox are overall a better team. So that's gonna be a pick. I'm picking the White Sox over the Red Sox on my line. And my other bet, my basketball bet, Chris, I think it's going to make you a happy man. I'm picking the Memphis Grizzlies over the Chicago Bulls on the spread. The Grizzlies are favored by only -4 on the spread, and I have no idea how the Grizzlies are only favored by -4 or in this game. The Chicago Bulls, they are not a great team. They're not a great team. They're a rebuilding team. They're not a bad team per se, but they're just not a great team. And you could make this argument. The Grizzlies are on the road. So that's why the spread's a little small. Let me look at these. Let me look at these records right here. Just give me a second here. You guys know what Chris, you know what Memphis' record on the road is?
I do not, but I do believe it is better than the home record.
Still. You're correct. They are 14-10 at home. I mean on the road. Memphis Grizzlies are 14-10 on the road. And Chicago is 10-17 at home. So that all ends up great to my favor. I think -4 is way too low here of a spread. I am taking the Grizzlies -4 on the spread. So those are my 2 bets.
All right. Hey, Devin, you want to put a bet on for the show?
I'll let you go, Michael.
I always go last.
Michael
I
always
bring
goes.
the-
Michael always goes last. Chris,
I'll go.
David, Alex.
Oh, all right, so I'll be going.
Yeah, you're the reigning champ, Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go. I'm gonna go with a baseball bet. I think
Oh,
a
you
couple
know
of
I
the
like
people-
guys who
a couple
bet
people
baseball.
on the podcast might like it. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Phillies on the money line over the Cardinals tomorrow.
Ooh.
Oh, Alex just got happy. Alex just got turned on. Alex like, I want to
They
have.
better not let me down.
Oh man.
Yo, first of all, he about to beat you up, Alex, if we go 6-6 tomorrow. We're about to whoop that behind, boy. All right, Alex, you up, mother sucker?
Okay.
Don't pick no stupid bet, boy.
I'm gonna go with the Utah Jazz money line.
Alex, don't go with the Jazz, bro.
Oh,
This could be the
Alex. All right. Is that your final bet, Alex?
Alex, don't do it.
All right. Michael, stop trying to persuade him otherwise. That's it. His bet is that he's taking the Jazz over the Pacers on the money line. So, David, you're up.
I'm going for the Nets.
Oh
Money
yeah, you
line.
have two. You have two picks, David. Go. You have two picks.
My first one is the basketball one.
Yeah.
Nets on the money line.
That's money line. Okay. Next up.
And then I got one for hockey. I think the Bruins over Islanders.
You're taking the Bruins over the Islanders.
David,
I was considering this game. I was considering this game. I'm not gonna tell you why I was gonna bet, but I was considering betting that game. So you're taking the Bruins over the Islanders?
Yeah.
Okay. Money line, right?
Yeah.
Devin, you got any bet?
Yeah, I'm gonna take one. So you guys, I'm gonna go LA over Colorado at plus 260 on the money line.
Oh, okay. Which sport is that?
Hockey.
Okay.
Kings over the
He's a
Islanders.
hockey man. He a hockey man. He
All
gonna
right.
go with hockey.
So taking LA over Colorado.
Yeah,
All
money
right,
line, not puck line.
All right, I got money line. All right.
Yo, you up, baby?
Don't bet puck line in hockey. That's what I learned. I learned that the hard way.
Puck line, Jesus, empty netters. That'll get you. You're paid every. You'll get paid more often than not, Adam. You got to bet puck line when you can.
Okay.
What's up?
Still up.
Marcellus, so you got two picks as always, Marcellus. Go.
I'm gonna take Westbrook to get a triple double my first.
Oh, Westbrook triple double.
And, he's definitely gonna get that. And then my second one, I'm gonna go with the Nets money line.
Okay. All right, so Westbrook triple double and Nets money line. All right. Unfortunately, my phone's not cooperating here, Marcellus, but I will eventually mark that. But I will eventually mark that down. So last up, Big Money Mike. Go ahead.
Adam, what's my record this week? What am I at, brother? What am
You
I at?
are 5-6.
I'm 5-6. When I bet it with Dame, when I bet it with the Jazz, I'm 1-1, I believe, right? 2-1, I believe.
I believe
Am I
it's 2-2. I believe.
When I'm with the Jazz. When I picked the Knicks, I was 1-1, and I beat somebody in this group chat about a certain co-host challenged me for the Memphis Knicks game, and what happened to that? I won. And he knows who I'm talking about. He knows who it is. Yeah.
We can run it back May 3rd if you're interested. That's all I'll say.
I'm down to take your lunch money one more time. Adam, we're going to stay. You know what time it is?
Yeah.
Dame time. We're going with Dame time up in here. Dame, I'm going to go with Lillard scoring over 20 points or more.
Okay.
20
25 points or more?
I'm going to get cocky. Adam. I'm going to get cocky.
Okay.
And the Blazers money line.
I'm
I'm going to get greedy.
All right. So taking Damian Lillard to score 25 points and for the Portland Trailblazers to win.
Come on. I'm getting Dame average is over 20 or more, so that's no problem. That's no problem. No problem.
Oh.
Easy money.
Ooh.
Adam, I got sure Damian's playing. You know, I make sure Damian Lillard's playing. Damian averaged over 20. That's no problem for him.
You should check he was playing.
No, Michael, I love the bet. I love the bet. I'm not questioning your bet at all. All right. So I'll make sure I get that marked down. Marcellus, you had the Nets again?
Yeah, I did. I have the Nets.
On the money line, right?
Yep.
Okay, I got that marked down, and Westbrook triple double. So all right, so that's all for our best this weekend. That's all for this episode. Devin, we thank you for coming on. It was great to give your insight on all sports, specifically hockey. You brought great insight into our sport. I want to give some love on the podcast.
My pleasure, Adam.
Because hockey is just such a great sport, and I wanted to talk a little bit with you guys. So, Devin, we thank you for coming on.
Love it. Thanks. My pleasure, guys. And Stanley Cup playoffs roll around. Your Devils won't be there, but if you want to talk,
it'll still hopefully be like a really good Stanley Cup playoff. So,
say that to you, boy.
Yeah, but I mean, for some of the guys here on the futures, the Islanders aren't a bad bet, boys. So
I definitely think that's a pretty good bet too. As a Devils fan, like I'm definitely rooting for the Islanders to go all the way with all the forward Devils they have on there. I definitely am going to be on this bandwagon. So that's it. This has been episode 12 of the Get Your Game On podcast with George Chuli, Adam Grassani, Michael Cunningham, Alex Reich, David Heller, Chris Kern, and Marcellus Murdock. If you like what you heard, leave a like and follow or subscribe to the podcast. Also, if you want to join the conversation, drop a comment or review and may feature it in a future episode. Right, my friends. Don't assume your dreams to this fantasy. If you can imagine a world, believe in it and dive in. See you next time, and until then, stay lit.
And